time to find out if Turo's legit or not. So you guys have been blowing me up in the comments to rent my Tesla out on Turo to see whether it's gonna really make money or not. But I'm gonna actually do you one better. Not only am I gonna rent out my Tesla and show you guys how it goes, I'm also gonna rent out 5 supercars and show you what it's like being a renter and also talk to those Turo hosts. And all of that's too much to cover in one video, so we're gonna break this up into a 3-part series. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can see every part along the way. Now for this video, I wanna go in depth on how Turo actually works, so I'm bringing in an expert. The whole idea for this video actually started with my friend Lucky Lopez on my podcast. He's a car flipper and Turo expert, so I figured let's just bring him in to tell us how to do it. Bro, what's up? Good to see you, man.
You too, brother.
Dude, we are filming this video because of you.
I appreciate it. I'm so glad you're actually taking the Turo challenge. I'm really excited to see what happens.
So first off, if you guys don't know, I love Lucky's Mercedes. It's one of the cars I've been thinking about getting. We'll get into that later though. All right, so you're the whole reason that we're making this video. Why don't you explain real quick what Turo actually is?
What Turo is an online application that actually allows you to rent to regular people. And one of the reasons why it stands out so much is here in Vegas, if you go to the airport, you can't rent a car unless you have a credit card. But with Turo, you can rent it with your checking account, your bank card, everything else. And it's basically anybody over 18.
So the way that I've looked at Turo is it's very similar to Airbnb. You know, if you want to go rent your car for, a week or something, you can just put it on the Turo app and anyone can rent it. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. It gives the option to actually start their own rental car company with literally zero money out of pocket and rent peer-to-peer.
Okay, so do you personally rent this one on Turo?
Yes, I rent it out from time to time. I usually get about anywhere from like $120 to about $200 a day. But right now the Vegas market is red hot. We're getting maybe about $200 to $250 per day.
Wow, that's crazy.
Insane.
All right, so if I'm gonna go put mine on Turo, what are some first things I need to do?
I tell everybody the most important thing are pictures. You want to set your car as far apart as everybody else. So find a nice park, garage, something like this with a nice skyline. Clean your car, take some good pictures. That's the first step. Second step is your actual pricing. A lot of people get on the app and they think, well, I'm just gonna rent my Tesla for $200 because that's what everybody's thinking about. And it's the complete opposite. Turo has an algorithm just like Google. So you need the reviews and everything else and trips to actually boost your rating up. So when you first post, do automatic posting to get those reviews quickly. So this way we can push your vehicle more through Turo's platform.
Yeah, and that's very similar to what I teach people with Airbnb. You know, when we first list a house for rent on Airbnb, we don't have any reviews, people don't trust it. So we gotta price it a little lower, which I guess the automatic pricing would do.
Exactly.
Just get my reviews up and then I can start getting market value.
100%. Once you hit that super host status, it's just like money in the bank. The algorithm just keeps pushing you and you get more and more renters.
All right, so let's just go back to the office then, take some pictures, get the listing set up, and then talk about some other things that people need to know about.
Sounds good.
All right, so I just got my account listed on Turo. I use those pictures I took outside. It was pretty straightforward. It's saying that I can get 75 to 200 bucks with their pricing.
It's pretty normal in the market.
Okay, so what do you think it'll get like down the road once I get reviews?
Once you get a few reviews, I think you'll probably get to the $100 to $150 mark.
That seems super low for my Tesla.
It's going to be low in the beginning, but once you get super host, it's really going to push you to the next level because once that algorithm catches you, Turo will literally push your car to the top.
Okay, so it's just like YouTube and all these other social medias,
Correct.
Same deal. So once I do that, if somebody books it, what happens? Like, how do they get the car? What's the process?
Well, they have the traditional where people just show up to your house and pick it up. The other one is you can actually make some extra money by doing delivery. So you can offer an extra $10, $20, $30 to offer that service to go pick them up and drop off the car.
Wow, so I can tell you for me, I'm not gonna go pick up a car that I rent, these supercars. I'm gonna make them drop it off to me.
100.
So, and I'm definitely not dropping it off to somebody else. So I can force them to come to me to get it.
Correct.
Okay, got it. So, it seems pretty straightforward. At this point, I just wait for bookings, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I tell everybody while you're doing this, there's a few things we like to tell people about. So like one of the first tips I wanted to tell you is if you plan on doing this full time, I would definitely do GPSs. Now, even if you have just one car, the GPS will give you all kinds of information, whether people will leave your cars out in the middle of the desert. You always want to know where your car is at. And a lot of the new GPSs that they offer actually have smart tracking where it'll actually tell you if it's in a tow yard. So if somebody rents your car, does drinking and driving and gets it impounded, it'll let you know so you can get it out of the impound quickly before it winds up racking up too many fees.
So for me, do I even need that since I have the Tesla?
The Tesla, no, because you have it on your phone, on your app, so it'll pretty much tell you where it is. You can do the smart tracking and actually highlight areas you don't want it to go to. So since it's an SUV, I wouldn't want it to go out at the dunes and do some four-wheel.
Yeah, that'd be, how do I even stop that? You can't really do anything.
You can't stop it, unfortunately, but a lot of people know that, you know, hey, I'm watching this, or at Teslas, everyone knows there's a GPS. But as long as you let people kind of know that you are watching your vehicle and you're tracking a little bit, it gives them a better inclination.
Got it. Okay, so definitely get a GPS. What's the other ones?
The biggest one is insurance. Now, a lot of people watching this video are probably going to get triggered when I say buy the most expensive insurance. And I'm going to give you 2 examples why. So the first one, you can go with the lowest price plan and keep the most money in your pocket. But let's say for some reason one of your customers is driving it and they get in an accident. When your car is damaged, especially during the whole pandemic right now, it's very hard to get car parts. So let's say they rip the front end of your Tesla off. If your car's out for 30 days and it takes them maybe 45 days to get the bumper, you lose all that rental money. Your car's just sitting there, not making any money, and you can't even use it. Where if you get the top end insurance, not only does it pay for that, it gives you money for your own rental car, plus it gives you the money for time off. So let's say you're getting $250 a day for your Tesla, they will give you that for the full 35 to 45 days it takes to fix your vehicle. So this way you're not losing any money, you're actually making more money as your car is damaged.
Okay, so for me, obviously I've only got my Tesla, so I'm just insuring that to the max. For you as a dealer, you've got commercial insurance, right?
Yeah, when we rent off platform, not only do we use like your personal liability, so if you come to us and you want to rent, we actually use your insurance. And if not, we sell you different types of coverage to make sure that you and the car are both covered.
Okay, I also saw Turo has insurance. How does that work?
So every time you rent on their platform, they actually give you $1 million coverage for every vehicle. So if they rent your particular Tesla and they crash into somebody and they sue them, Turo will cover them up to $1 million, including repairs, legal fees, covering your car and your costs. So this way you're totally insured.
So why would you even need like your own insurance at a high level if Turo is going to do that anyway?
Well, you want to have your basic liability insurance, but also full coverage just to protect you. It may not ever happen, but also on the actual Turo platform, you want to pick the most expensive one so it does cover you in the accident. So there's Turo, there's renter's insurance for the actual renter, there's rental insurance for you, the person that's actually renting the car, and then you have your personal liability insurance. So a lot of it's a 3-tier system, so if one fails, one will pick up the other one.
Okay, got it. All right, so insurance is key. What's the other thing?
A big thing is maintenance. I cannot believe how many people rent their cars out on Turo and they never inspect them. If you're watching this now, do monthly inspections of your car, put it up on a lift, check your tires, check your brakes. We actually rented a car not too long ago when we were in San Diego, and the brakes and tires were completely shot. And this wasn't like a cheap car. This was, I think it was an i8, and it was scary. We were driving, we heard all the grinding and stuff like that, and we just were really freaked out. And we told the guy, and he was trying to charge us for the actual things. And I'm like, okay, well, show me your maintenance records and prove that you serviced the car, quote unquote, a month ago. He couldn't. So 1 is to protect your clients. 2, it's to protect yourself, because that's the only thing they could sue you against, which Tesla, or excuse me, not Tesla, but Turo may not cover you, is if it's malfeasance or neglect.
So that makes sense. Now, obviously, you've been doing this for a while now. I'm sure you've got some horror stories with wrecks and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So I personally learned the problem with Turo's insurance when I first started. I did not go the actual full coverage. I went for the cheapest one so I can keep the most money. We had a Maserati Gran Turismo, 2-door sports car. We rented to a customer from Europe. They drove it on the strip. They ended up doing a U-turn and hitting the median in the middle of the strip. It was actually on the news. It was teetering in the middle. We got it back, but the parts were all from Italy, so there was nothing here used in the United States. 3 months, that car was down. I didn't make any money on it. I had to pay my insurance, I had to pay my overhead, all that stuff, and I didn't pick the right Turo insurance. Now, if I would have actually raised it to the proper one, I would have been getting $300 a day for those 3 months that my car was out being damaged.
You would have probably made more money.
100%, yeah. I would have had a guaranteed rental for 90 days, but instead I went the cheap route and it costed me.
So it just goes back, we got to get good insurance doing this.
Yeah, and then we've had another one where we actually had a G-Wagon where the customer decided, like we talked about, taking it out 4x4ing, doing some stuff. Well, they went out in the middle of Red Rock, drove it off the side of the cliff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I thought that, we're looking at the GPS and we're like, oh, the customer's at Red Rock taking pictures with his family. A day goes by, it's still there.
Wow.
And finally we get a call from the park ranger saying, hey, we found one of your stickers inside your car. Somebody just crashed his car and left it. So that's why I tell people, get the GPS and definitely track your car because it'll give you a heads up.
That's crazy. So speaking of money, okay, you know, we're talking about what these could rent for on a daily basis. And I think the reason people are so interested in Turo is because it's such a great side hustle. And that's why I wanted to include it in the Flip Nation series. So what is the time frame that your car will actually pay for itself on Turo?
I tell people you want to shoot for 15 to 16 days a month rented. And if you can keep that average up for 90 days, that is what's called a hot car. You keep that in your actual portfolio, almost like a popular car or a house that's renting, and you go get one or two more just like it, and you slowly build your portfolio. And after a while, it becomes, you know, basically from a liability to an asset. They just constantly keep renting out.
Okay, so about half a month renting it out is, you know, expected, and that's if you're doing good. How long will it take to actually pay off a car?
Most of ours, if you do it correctly, what you're supposed to do is not take a single dollar out of your vehicle for the first year, and you always pay down your loan. A lot of people get in the habit of keeping the money and they don't pay down for depreciation and maintenance. And that's where a lot of like these exotic car companies go out of business. They buy a $300,000 car, they're making $1,000 a day, they rent it for 25 days out of the month, but they pay their normal $3,000 car payment and they pocket the rest. You pay all that towards the car for the first year. So by the time that year's over, you got hopefully maybe $100,000 of your loan paid down. And now the second year you can start taking your profits. But on a regular car, I would say about a year, year and a half is what we like to do. By the time we're about 80% paying off a loan, we actually don't keep them. We never pay them off. We just trade them back in and get another one.
Wow. But theoretically, somebody could just pay it off within a year, year and a half, if they just put all the profits towards it.
Oh, 100%. Like we have a 2015 Sonata, is one of my favorite cars. So you don't have to be rich to start this, and the Turo platform can literally get you started with like no money. You just post your car up there. But we paid, I think, $6,800 for that car. It paid for itself in less than 9 months.
Wow, that's insane. So last question to you, Lucky. Would you think that it's better to rent, a luxury car or, the Sonata, just the basic economy car?
It's kind of a catch-22. I know everybody wants to do the flashy thing and do the exotic cars, but I always tell people it's the actual more affordable cars is what's in higher demand. Because if we go on right now, we can probably go rent a Ferrari tomorrow, but try to find like an affordable Ford Taurus and Honda Accord or a Honda Civic or something like that. There's nothing online that's at a decent price.
Okay, so
Demand for that.
the basic cars are the ones that have the better ROI. But, for a guy like myself or somebody watching this who wants to buy an exotic car, this is a great way to subsidize it and eventually pay it off, make it pay for itself.
100%. I know you guys talk about house hacking and saving money. It's the same thing in our world where, when I first bought my G-Wagon, I didn't drive it that much once I got the AMG. So I actually just rented it out on Turo, covered my bill. So as long as I rented it out 5 days on Turo, it covered my insurance, it covered my car payment, and now I get to enjoy my car for free.
Well, that's super exciting because I've been looking to buy a supercar. All these people on my podcast keep telling me to buy it, including yourself. And this could be a great way to do it. And by the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Lucky's YouTube channel, he goes over stuff like this in depth. So make sure you guys subscribe. But Lucky, I'm gonna put it on you. What do you think I should rent? Because I'm gonna go rent out my Tesla for the next week and I don't have a car. So I'm gonna go rent 5 supercars in the meantime.
Wow, let's see. I think the one's best for you because we know you do a lot of business meetings, but you want to drive it every day for that comfortability. I would say for tech, luxury, and everything else, let's start with maybe an Audi R8 or maybe a Mercedes AMG like mine. After that, maybe step it up to a Ferrari or Lambo to kind of close out the week. Just something that like a lot of fun that you can have just so you can get the taste of it. And then make sure, like I said, definitely rent a C8 just so you can get the feeling. So if you do wind up going that route, you can go that way.
Yeah, we talked about the C8 on the podcast and man, they're such a good deal for how expensive they are. And that's one of those ones I'm looking at on Turo and saying, man, what will this rent for on Turo since it is pretty cheap for what it is? You should be able to pay that thing off pretty quick.
Yeah, I've seen them running average of $300 a day right now.
Well, Lucky, I appreciate you coming on and inspiring me to do this. Guys, part 2 and part 3 are coming out, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know right when it gets released. It's gonna be exciting seeing what my Tesla makes and then seeing what these supercars are renting for. And who knows, maybe I'll end up really liking one of these cars and we'll have to go back to the auction and buy one after the series.
Yeah, man, let's do it.